John, here's a really cool thing. Let's say you go outside, okay, you look up and you see a star, and like so, a photon from that star enters your eye, and maybe that photon has been cruising along for like 30 million years. Do you know that that photon would not have been emitted from that star at that time in your eye? It was there at that time to receive it. You think, how the hell does that happen? Because that's 20 years ago. I don't know how it could be, but I know that John Wheeler has done a very good job of detailing out why that's true and necessarily true. And so Wheeler is also the physicist who developed the notion of it's from it, and he believes that the world is best construed as the potential of the world is best construed as a place of information. It's something like latent information. And that what consciousness does is transform the latent information into something like concrete reality. He doesn't mean that metaphorically, and one of the cases that he makes in that regard is this story that I just told you, is that the photon couldn't have left from where it was unless it had a place to go. Now, it's complicated and confusing because from the perspective of a beam of light, from a photon, there is no time and there's no distance from one point to another. And of course, that's completely impossible to understand too, but from the perspective of a photon, the universe is completely flat, perpendicular to the direction that the photon is traveling, so it's there and here at the same time. For us, it's not. It's like 20 million years ago, but for the photon, it's all here and now. So, anyways, the reason I'm telling you all that is because the relationship between consciousness and reality is by no means straightforward. It is seriously not straightforward. And physicists debate what the relationship is between consciousness and reality, and they debate about what the sort of phenomena that I just described mean, and I'm not really qualified to enter into that debate because I'm not a physicist, but I do know, and I've read it for a bit of Wheeler, as well as much of it as I can understand, and I do at least know that that's what he claimed. And I also know that that claim is not, that's a claim that's taken seriously among physicists of the caliber of the physicists who can understand Wheeler. So that's pretty interesting. So anyways, there is emphasis again on this importance of naming in order to make things real. You know, and sometimes people won't name things just so they don't become real. So, you know, if you have a relationship, which undoubtedly you do, and it has problems, which undoubtedly it does, you bloody well know that lots of times there's something under the carpet that no one wants to name, and everybody's thinking, well, as long as we don't name it, it's not really there. And in some sense, it really isn't there, because you can act as if it's not there and get away with it, at least for short periods of time. As soon as you name that thing, it's like you give it form and it's there and no one can ignore it. And that's annoying because then you have to deal with it or face the consequences. But the reason I'm telling you that is because we have an intuition even that we can have things not exist by not naming them. You name it and it comes forward with staggering clarity. And it's not as if naming it is the only thing that gives it reality, but it is something like it sharpens it and brings it into focus and gives it borders and barriers, borders and boundaries. So, anyways, God's interested enough in what Adam has to say that he has them name all the animals, and that sort of makes them into animals. Now, there's more to the linguistic story than that. So, social psychologist Roger Brown was one of them, studied this really interesting phenomena which is associated with relationship between perception and action. You know how a kid will call a particular animal a cat? Well, the word cat is very short, like the word dog. And it turns out that, you know, you could think that we could perceive cats as multicellular organisms, see the cells.